Good morning again. The topic for today is Mission Possible. I keep hearing that thing in the television show, your mission, should you choose to accept it. I figure we beat Moses by about 15 years. He wandered in the wilderness with the Israelites for 40 years. We've only been looking for our promised land for a little over 25. And we haven't really been wandering. There were those early days when we traveled from house to house for services, and there may have been some frantic wandering, looking for the closest bathroom before we had an adjacent facility. But for most of those years, we have divided our time between the priestly chapel and our current building. We also have not been wandering in our connection to Unitarian Universalism and the affirmations, covenants, and sources of our inspiration as a religious community. We have been steadfast in our commitment to growth, outreach, and our search for truth and meaning as a congregation and as individuals. But we are poised to share a unique experience as a congregation, one we have not had before, and one we will in all likelihood not have again for many, many years, hopefully, if at all. We are almost the proud owners of our own promised land. We don't want to be like the dog that chased the car only to catch it and not know what to do with it. Or more likely, the pack of dogs who caught the car and all had different ideas of what to do with it. Sorry for the unflattering comparison, but I've already heard many ideas of what to do with this building. We will be challenged to come to consensus on how best to use this space, how to redesign it to be more reflective of a place for religious and spiritual experiences. And most importantly, how to make decisions that are focused on fulfilling our mission and vision for this religious community. I would imagine any of us who have renovated, redecorated, or refurbished something may have had the experience of 20/20 hindsight on how we could have done something differently, more suited to our needs. We don't want to make mistakes or squander resources on changes to this building that will not, in the long run, serve our needs and promote our mission. Planning is crucial. Now, planning is not always the most exciting activity when it delays the immediate gratification of knocking down a wall, installing a stained glass window, or decking out that state-of-the-art kitchen. I know some of the perils of planning, as my job for much of the last 15 years of my life in public education had some element of helping school districts develop and implement strategic plans. And we always began by crafting a vision and mission statement. Amidst the busy days of life in a classroom, I was not always met with enthusiasm as I trudged in with my flip chart and 47 PowerPoint slides. There's a joke that says it all. A judge, a bishop, and a planner were having a discussion. All three were rather vain, and their talk soon turned to the question of which of them was the greatest. "Well," said the judge, "my position is one of dignity and power. When I walk into the courtroom, the bailiff says, 'All rise,' and all the people stand to honor me." "Well, that's very nice," said the bishop. "People stand in your honor. But when people have an audience with me, they kneel, kiss my ring, and they address me as Your Eminence." Well, the planner snorted and said, "I think I got you both beat. When I walk into any room as a consultant, the people look down, put their hands over their eyes, and say, 'Oh, dear God.'" Now, I can assure you I'm not hiding a flip chart or PowerPoint presentation behind the podium. But I did print in the program today both the covenant and mission statements for this congregation. I was not actively involved in the congregation's strategic planning process, but Sarah Kelly helped me out a bit with the history. Sarah and Jen Curley, who has since moved out of the area, were instrumental in facilitating the process. Sarah told me that they started in the fall of 2009, had a visioning workshop in February 2010, and finalized the mission and covenant statements in spring 2011. The excerpt from the UUA document that Lenore read served as the importance of having and living a vision, mission, and covenant in our congregations. And one of the ways that we can live our vision and mission is manifested through our physical building. I'm not implying that every brick and mortar decision can be driven by scouring our mission for guidance, but I do think that we need to try to see how our promised piece of land can be an extension of who we are as a religious community. I printed the mission in the program so that we could all look at it together and think about how it speaks to each of us. The mission, as it appears on the About page of the UUCSV website, is to invite all people to share and explore diverse beliefs and strive with us to build a better community. Organizations wisely take time to reevaluate and recommit to these foundational statements. Each Sunday we read together the words at the top of the program that affirm our status as a welcoming congregation. We can see on the back of the program each week our 7 principles and the sources of our inspiration. But I thought as we look ahead to taking possession of our new home, we should revisit the mission statement with an eye as to how it can help us make the best decisions in the most respectful way for what we do with this building. So I'm going to ask you to look at the mission statement that appears beneath the title of the sermon today. And we're going to think about each key word. So we'll take a minute for each. Words like invite, all, people, share, explore, diverse, beliefs, strive, with, us, build, better, community. Maybe one word stands out more to you than others. Maybe a word doesn't resonate with you as much. But the key is to think about how this series of what were, I'm sure, very carefully selected words can serve as a laser beam to direct our future. I'll give you an example of what could be a conflict for me with the mission statement. I have missed terribly the sense of sanctuary in the broadest sense of the word, which the chapel embodied. It provided for me a space of simplicity and grace that encouraged contemplation. While this space has been utilitarian for the most part, it does not inspire me, and maybe that's true for others of you. I appreciate all the effort that members have made and contributed to soften the hard edges and hide some of the warts. But it remains a pretty sterile place that, for me, does not inspire a sense of spirituality. Yet, lovely as the chapel is, something as static as the arrangement and furnishings of the chapel would not allow us the flexibility we need to fulfill those ideals in our mission statement, like explore and diverse. We need a space that can accommodate a labyrinth, a casino, a yard sale, a community education program. Wooden pews set in a line to gaze at a permanent pulpit would not provide fluid functionality to promote building and sharing. I realize all that, but seriously, the brown and blue plastic chairs have to go. I included the congregation's covenant statement as well at the beginning of the service. It is one of the 3 legs of organizational foundation. A vision articulates what the congregation aspires to be in the future and what I'm sure they were doing before they wrote the mission and covenant. What do you want to be? A mission statement articulates how we want to achieve that vision. And a covenant assures each of us how we will support and be supported as we move forward to achieve our dream. Our covenant stresses that we will support one another in a continuing commitment to a free, open, and loving search for spiritual and religious truth and meaning. The UUA document on mission, vision, and covenant emphasizes the importance of living your mission with these words. Studies have shown that the congregations that have living vision, mission, and covenant statements are the ones that are growing, not only in numbers but also in the depth of membership commitment. This growth shows in the depth of commitment members have to the world around them, to living more fulfilled lives. By terming these statements living, we mean that the process is followed through from vision to mission to objectives into actualization of the congregation's dreams. In a document that Sarah sent me when I asked for some history on the planning process, she related what she termed a wonderful serendipity. As she and Jen Curley were at the church reviewing the work the congregation had done on visioning and mission, she writes, "A young man appeared in the doorway. We thought he was looking for one of the businesses, but he was looking for us. His question, do you have a mission statement that I could look at? Sarah said it turned out that he wanted to know more about UUism in general, but about this congregation in particular, so he could convince his girlfriend to come with him on a Sunday morning. The late Stephen Covey, author and mastermind for the workshops on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, developed activities that led participants through exercises to create their own personal vision and mission statements. Vision and mission statements are not only valuable for organizations, but for individuals as well. It is a centering experience to try to articulate your vision for yourself. Who do you aspire to be? And your mission. How do you want to live your life to fulfill that vision? So we have almost reached our promised land. The vehicle we have chased is almost within our grasp. What will we do with it that operationalizes our vision and mission? As Stephen Covey said, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.